L'chaim and welcome to my kitchen. Because of my trip and because of scheduling, we're only doing this in general this year once a week. So it could be, even this is a Simchas Torah story, you will hear this after Simchas Torah. I apologize. It's a wonderful story. It's a story about a young boy whose name is Henrik. Henrik was a young boy in 1945 when the war ended. Henrik was living with a Goya. Henrik was Jewish. Henrik's last name, his father's name, was Foxman. Henrik didn't know he was Jewish because the Goya, she converted him. She took him never to church. She taught him whatever there was to learn. And she was sure that the father is never coming back. She was the nanny in the Foxman home. And she was sure that Henrik's father died because he was taken, as far as she knew, to Auschwitz, and nobody came back from Auschwitz. So she felt 100% positive that Henrik will remain Catholic and will remain her son. Erev Simchas Torah, Mr. Foxman, who survived the destruction of the Vilna ghetto, he was in the Vilna ghetto, he came and came to pick up his son. She wasn't happy. She didn't have a choice though, and she gave the boy up. Joseph Foxman, the name of the father, took his son by the hand and took him directly to the great synagogue in Vilna. This was in Vilna, I guess. On the way, he told his son that his name is Avraham, not Henrik. Not far from the house, on the way to shul, they passed the church, and the boy, the way he always did, forgive me, crossed himself as he walked by the church, causing his father, Joseph Foxman, great anguish, but that's the way it is. Just then a priest came out, and the child walked over and he kissed the priest's hand. And Mr. Foxman wanted to pull him away, but he didn't. He understood that he has to give this time. This was not the way to do things, so he nodded to the priest. He held the boy closely, but he nodded to the priest. After all, these people had saved Henrik's life. They came into the great synagogue of Vilna, and they found Jewish survivors from Auschwitz who made their way back to Vilna and were now trying to rebuild their lives. They were singing and dancing. It was Simchas Torah. Henrik Avram, stared wide-eyed around him, and he picked up a tattered siddur and touched it with affection. Something deep inside of him responded to the atmosphere, and he was happy to be there with his father, but he barely knew. He held back from joining the dancing. A Jewish man wearing a Soviet army uniform couldn't take his eyes off the boy. And he came over to Yosef, and he said, "Is this child Jewish?" A touch of awe in his voice. And the father answered that the boy was Jewish and introduced his son. As the soldier stared at Henrik Avraham, he fought to hold back tears. "Over these 4 terrible years, I've traveled thousands of miles, and this is the first, open your heart, this is the first live Jewish child I have come across in all this time. Would you like to dance with me on my shoulders?" he asked the boy, who was staring back at him fascinated. The father nodded permission, and the soldier hoisted the boy high onto his shoulders. With tears now coming down his cheeks and a heart full of real joy, the soldier joined in the dancing and said, "This is my Sefer Torah." Open your hearts. You know who this is? Abe Foxman, the national director of the Anti-Defamation League. He's the Avraham in our story. Remembers this as his first conscious feeling of a connection with Judaism and of being a Jew. In the Warsaw ghetto, Simchas Torah in Warsaw, in the ghetto, Rabbi Pesach Krohn tells a story. But it came to Hakofis. But in that shul, maybe in another shul in the Varshavir Ghetto, there was a Sefer Torah. In that shul, there wasn't. In a hole, someplace underground, with no Sefer Torah and Simchas Torah. The little children were still alive then. I don't know what happened to them afterwards. Everybody picked up a child and danced with the child, because they are our Sifrei Torah. L'chaim, b'birchas Mashiach now. Seid gesund.